To wrap up this demand section, we need to go ahead and talk about the differentiation between a change in demand and a change in quantity demanded. They might sound very similar, but they do mean two very different things for us in economics. So a change in demand occurs when one or more of the determinants of demand changes, and it's going to shift the entire demand curve. So everything that we did in the previous video is considered a change in demand. When we talk about these non-price determinants, so taste and preferences, changes in your income, changes in the prices of related goods, the number of buyers, expectations. These are all considered non-price determinants, and it's going to shift our entire demand curve to the right or to the left, depending on the specific shock we're introducing. A change in quantity demanded, however, tells us that we're going to be changing the current price of the good, and it tells us that we're focusing in on the law of demand. We're going to end up on the same exact demand curve. So to illustrate the differentiation between the two here, let's go ahead and take a look at the market for gaming apps. On the left-hand side, we have a change in demand, and on the right-hand side, we're going to take a look at the change in quantity demanded. So with the change in demand, at a current price of $80, we have 20 units of these gaming apps being demanded. So 20 units of quantity demanded. But however, suppose I introduce a shock. Suppose that I tell you that the taste and preferences of these gaming apps increases. Suppose that I tell you that your income increases and this gaming app is going to be seen as a normal good. What should happen to the demand for these gaming apps? It's going to increase the demand for these gaming apps, and you notice that we end up on an entirely new demand curve, D1 in this instance. So we shift our entire demand curve. At a price of $80, we end up on D1 now, and we notice that the quantity demanded is equal to 40 units of these gaming apps. So here, change in demand has nothing to do with changing the current price of the good. On the other hand, with a change in quantity demanded, we start off at the same $80 and the same 20 units of these gaming apps being demanded. However, suppose now that I introduce the shock of saying, hey, what happens if the price of these gaming apps decreases down to $40? When the price of the good changes, we have a movement along the demand curve, and we still end up on the same exact demand curve, D0 in this instance. So we change the price of the good from $80 to $40, and the quantity of these gaming apps increases from 20 units to 40 units. And once again, we end up on the same exact demand curve. This is a movement along the demand curve, and this is seen as us changing the current price of the good. It is seen as the law of demand. So once again, even though it sounds very similar to one another, these do mean very, very different things, so you do want to be careful about the wording, whether or not you're focusing in on a change in demand or a change in quantity demanded. Remember, these are non-price determinants, while this is a price determinant. So to wrap up this particular section, let's go ahead and take a look at a particular example, and you guys tell me exactly, or do you guys think about exactly what's happening, and you tell me if it's a change in demand or a change in quantity demanded, and what should happen with our demand curve. What happens to the demand for iPads if the price of data plans fall? First of all, what type of market are we taking a look at? Which market? Are we taking a look at the market for iPads or the market for data plans? We're taking a look at the market for iPads because we're focusing on the demand for iPads. So that's the key words that we want to focus in on there. So knowing this, are we focusing in on a determinant of demand, a non-price determinant, or a price determinant? Here, we're focusing on a non-price determinant because data plans, their price is going to be changing, but the price of iPads, the good we're taking a look at, is not changing. So here, this is a non-price determinant. We're going to be shifting our entire demand curve in a particular direction. So in relation to iPads, what are data plans? Data plans are seen as a complement good. You need data plan in order for you to use an iPad effectively. You need some type of data plan. So let's go ahead and graph this out. So here we are taking a look at the market. We have price, we have quantity, and we're focusing in the market for these iPads. And of course, always starting off with D0. And we've noticed that the price of data plans is going to fall. Price of data plans falls. And remember that these data plans are seen as a complement. So if the price of data plans falls, do you want more or do you want less iPads? Well, we've focused in on this on these determinant videos already. So here, when the price of a complement is going to fall, you want more of the complement good. So here, you notice that, hey, your demand for iPads is going to increase, and you end up on an entirely new demand curve. So this is a non-price determinant. It is a change in demand. It is not a change in quantity demanded. So here, once again, notice the differentiation between non-price and price determinants, a movement of the demand curve versus a change in the demand curve, and you'll be good to go when you do the problems for this particular section. We'll go ahead and focus in on the supply side of the market starting in the next video.